What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Nameco here, Dustin there, talking 2017 baseball rankings, talking about those guys behind the plate, but they also hit the ball, the catchers. But first, Dustin, talk about stuff.
Get onto our website, check out our rankings. We will be updating them throughout the spring training and all the preseason stuff. So be sure to click right down here or click on the link in the description, and you can get on there, see the most updated ranking.
All right, getting into that tier one, gonna first highlight, of course, Gary Sanchez. And it might be a little bit surprised we have him right there up at the top, but he's 24 years old, and last year in 200 at-bats, he had 20 home runs, 42 RBIs. I mean, the guy's a stud, he's young, he's exciting. We got him at the top guy. And the other two guys there, though, Posey, Lucroy. At this point, Lucroy is as safe as Posey, we feel. You're gonna get similar stats to them, you're gonna get the decent average, you're gonna get some power potential. But the reason we have Gary number one is just that exciting and the perceived upside factor you could get with him.
Tier 2, still some fun talent here. One of our guys that we liked coming into last year, and he really came on strong. JT Realmuto out there with Miami, only 25 years old. You gotta love when a catcher can bat over 300. He gave you over 300 average. Not the best power, but he uses double digits, but also sneaky steals, double-digit steals, which is an added bonus
fantastic
with any type of catcher out there. And then I want to talk about Evan Gattis. The guy can hit the ball far. I mean, that's what you're getting him for. He's going to DH. He's going to get a decent amount of at-bats. And about 450 last year. He had 32 home runs, which is nice. He's a little bit banged up right now with his shoulder stuff, so just make sure that all that is progressing nicely as we get closer to draft days. But Evan Gattis led catchers in home runs last year. There's a good chance he'll do that again in 2017.
Tier 3, I'm going to highlight Perez for the Kansas City Royals. It was kind of an interesting year for him, right? The reason we liked him in the past was because of his batting average. He was always a good contact hitter, didn't have a ton of power, but his average was always really solid. Well, last year, his average took a little bit of a dip, but his power certainly went up, and he had 22 home runs last year, which I will gladly trade the little bit of average I lost for those home run potential again in 2017.
Want to talk about Mr. Matt Wieters in Tier 4. New home with the Nationals.
Interesting.
And that lineup is very interesting. We'll see where he ends up batting in that lineup, but there's just so much talent all the way down. You got to think Wieters could have a decent year with them. He's only 30 years old. Seems like he's been around forever, but he's still fairly young. And, you know, he can still bat for a decent average, and he still has power potential. So we like where things are headed with Wieters. That's why we got him just inside our top 10. And I want to talk about Tom Murphy out there with Colorado. Interesting young catcher. I mean, they got Tony Walters out there, who is going to creep in on his playing time. So that's something to keep an eye on during spring training. If it looks like Tom Murphy's going to be close to an everyday catcher, I think we would actually even maybe move him up a little bit. It's just the uncertainty of how many times he's going to be playing is why we have him down here. But he's one of the more interesting younger catchers that you can take a gamble on a little bit later.
In Tier 5, I'm first going to highlight Wilson Ramos. Obviously, Wieters there with the Nationals. He's got a new home with Tampa Bay. And last year was a solid year. He batted over 300, 22 bombs, 80 RBIs. So, you know, the other guys in this tier, you see like a Yadier Molina, and like they have a good average, but not that home run same pop. The only risk with him, of course, is he could get kidnapped again, and then you wouldn't know where he is. So that is the only risk, really. And then I also, just real quick, Yadier Molina, this is the case where he is a better real-life catcher than fantasy catcher. So do not panic in the late middle rounds. If you don't have a catcher yet, you see this name, you hear the hype on ESPN and whatnot, and you just grab him. You need to know what he's going to give you. If you want a catcher that's going to give you an average with the teeny tiny bit of pop, that's what Yadier Molina is. Nothing more than that.
In our last tier, I want to talk about the last two. That's Yan Gomes and Tyler Flowers. Now these guys, they've had potential around them during their careers. They've had decent seasons. They've shown some promise. They haven't necessarily put it all together and had amazing fantasy years, but the potential's still there. We wanted to rank them. We wanted to talk about them. There's still a chance that they could, give you, top 15 value at the position, and maybe even a little bit better. Again, they're 29 and 31 respectively, so they do have something left in the tank so we'll see what they can do. But That's catchers. Get on. Check out all our other tiers and rankings.
I'm going to throw a knuckle for those catchers out there. Not bad, knuckle. See a little movement?
It's a little low. A little low.
Piece of paper, Dustin. I don't know what you want me to do. Sorry, I didn't have enough movement on my
Check out
pacer.
everything else. Post
Always
comments.
critical.
Post some comments, like the video, subscribe to the channel.
Give a little thumbs up. Hit the little bell so you get alerts because we're going to be posting a lot more. And this offseason, a lot of football stuff too. So make sure you're hitting that bell.